extended? What is the extended red
They're
dot? Does that mean the further out you?
They're lengthened by 1.5 inches.
Wow, you're not that tall though?
I've shrunk about 1 inch and change in the last 4 or 5 years.
So I'm really surprised that you don't slice it if that's accurate, because if you're using longer clubs and you're shorter,
it's all about your swing. You know that. It's not my swing. If I played, 50 times a year, that may be accurate. But if I play once or twice a year, my swing isn't going to change any regardless of how tall I am.
True. I was about to give you a lecture on how you don't change your swing for your clubs. You change your clubs for your swing.
Yes, blah, blah, blah. That's like saying when a customer comes into the dealership, I need to ask them questions because I don't want to make them fit the car. I want to make the car fit them.
Right. But most of them are looking at the payment, right?
Yeah, that's all they care about.
That's all they care about.
And I can show you a picture of my new truck too.
Oh, you got a new truck?
Yes. Yes.
So I'm waiting.
Well, okay, hold on.
Show our audience.
Hi, audience.
Who have been diligently listening to our.
I'm so unprepared.
I actually hit the record button without telling John I was going to do it.
It doesn't bother me. I think you're always recording.
I am technically.
See,
if you really want to get technical about it,
which I do,
anyone who wants to, do their own podcast, especially with video, go up to squadcast.fm and sign up. I think I have a link, a link for us to earn something. Ooh, it's white and it's pretty.
Well,
it's a big one.
You know where I'm moving?
Yeah, very nice. You went with a Ford.
It is. It's an F-150. It's a pre-owned one.
Okay.
Let's see if I can.
With the used car in this market, John?
Absolutely.
Do I need to explain things to you
I don't think you understand like I do, Nick.
That's very pretty.
It's fine. It's really a good truck, and my buddy Thor actually fixed this up. I've bought several vehicles from him, and this was one on his lot. And you're right. He said, I would not sell you a truck now if you didn't have trades. And when I say trades, I had 2 of them.
Did you?
So we're now a one vehicle or one car, one truck family.
Oh my goodness. How does Lisa feel about that?
Well, she feels great. She loves it.
Really? You're not a one vehicle.
What's that?
You're not a one vehicle. You're a 1.5.
Well, the Harley's not a half.
Definitely a half.
You're so rude. But it kind of is. Yeah, because we don't drive the Harley in the snow, ride the Harley in the snow very often.
Where are you moving?
Well, that's true. And this picture, and I'm sorry, listeners, viewers, nice. I don't know if you can see it or not. That is my Harley loaded in the truck, shipping.
Oh, I didn't see that part.
Yeah,
I didn't. Oh, interesting.
Loaded in
shipping to Florida. Trailer. Hopefully. So this is sad news. This is not funny in any way, shape, or form. But we have a mutual friend who works for, actually used to work on our team, now works for the OE that we are contracted to, or I'm contracted. John doesn't contract to him anymore, but great guy. Love him. Love his family. He's originally from New York. He was moving from somewhere in either North Carolina, South Carolina, or Florida, somewhere along there. He's along the coast, moving to Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
Packed everything in a big moving truck and shipped it all out. And his family was headed that way. And the shipping truck, the truck itself, the brakes locked up on the trailer and caused a fire and burnt the entire trailer and all of their possessions.
Wow.
Yeah. Not to make you nervous now that your car's.
I'm not. We're so a lot to tell you on the moving front, but we're selling almost all our furniture to the buyer of the house.
Yeah.
So, that would be okay with me because we have insurance. Well, yeah, we're taking very little. We're taking as far as our furniture in the house, we're taking a rug, a coffee table, and an end table, couple of bar stools. I think
air mattress,
4 chairs from the deck, and that's it. I think the rest is going to be boxes and clothes and guitars.
Crazy.
And holy crap! So Even this desk
Fun stuff to
behind
move.
me is staying.
Wow.
And the credenza on which the monitor
So
is.
what are you going to use for podcasting when you move?
I plan to do it probably at the neighbors or maybe in that
Okay.
Ford F-150 I just showed you.
Hey, why not? I'll send you the little microphone that I use for portable stuff, and you just hook it right up.
Yes.
As long as you got a hot spot, you should be good.
I should be, but yeah, I probably won't be. Anyway, so that's yes.
You won't be because you are the hot spot.
I am the hot spot.
Speaking of hot spots, I'm sure some of our viewers right now have noticed that I once in a while just bring a little glass up and I take a little sip. John hasn't even mentioned, but
I don't pay attention to you. I haven't been able to. I have to pretend that you're on my screen. You're not. I just look and
you do a very good job. You're a great actor. Are you British?
I could be.
You could be. Anyway, John said, "Hey, let's do a happy hour." And then I am like, I'm on board because here's the funny part. And John, I'll cut this out if you ask me to, but John had a procedure today.
I won't look. I'm not going to say what it was.
Drink to feel the effects.
But it rhymes with bolonoscopy.
And I like the fact that you use bolonoscopy.
Well, yeah,
that was good. That was. I wasn't going there. I was going from a bowel movement.
I'm sure you were.
Remember, I live in the South now, so oil is ol
or burl.
Burl. And a bowl is a bowl.
A bowl.
Yeah.
Yes, it's there is some.
A bowel is also a bowl.
Pronunciation.
Yeah. Right. Oh. Wow, he got so nervous about talking about his bowel movements and his colonoscopy that he dropped the microphone. You did drop the microphone.
No, it dropped itself, actually. Happily.
That is
I don't care.
The worst excuse I have ever heard.
No, it's
now we're going to watch you struggle. This is fun. We're going to call this episode Struggle Bus.
No.
That's right. I think I used that term at one of our other episodes. Right?
This is okay. I may be breaking the credenza that I'm selling to the buyer of the house.
Yeah, you don't want to break it until after it's sold.
Yeah, no, I need
to teach you everything
to a new setup here. Anyway, so yes, sorry about that. That was today the bolonoscopy, and this is my third one. And so, this may be a good time if you're a little concerned about how this might sound, or a little, I don't know if I want to talk about bolonoscopies.
The conversation could get really shitty, guys.
Could, but probably won't. It's
now what are you doing?
I'm still trying to get this fixed. It's a clamp and it's not clamping well. It's like Ellie Mae.
That's what she said. Oh. So anyway, the bad jokes that are coming out of John's mouth right now are sponsored by bolonoscopy. I haven't said one joke yet.
Yours are.
My jokes are always bad. They expect bad jokes from me.
That's true.
That's why they listen. Bad jokes from me, good jokes from you.
I don't think that's why they listen.
I'm grasping for straws here, folks.
I know, but that's okay. I think I'm going to have this fixed, everyone. I'm sorry for the thumping.
He's not sorry.
But let's just chalk it up to the bolonoscopy. It was
okay. That works.
So the one thing I want to say, and so we'll turn this into a PSA and then quickly be done with it. For people who say, "Oh, yeah, colonoscopy, I don't want to do that," it's my third one, and they found polyps, precancerous polyps, the first time they did one.
Oh, I was going to say this time. I'm like, wait, that was quick.
Yeah, I was 50 years old for the first one, and and they removed them and it was fine. And he said, the doctor then said, "I'll see you in 5 years." So they see me every 5 years, and happily the last two have been completely clean. And
that's good. That's good.
And I say clean, that's exactly clear like beer. If you've had one, you know what I'm talking about.
To your point, though, at 50, wasn't that a little bit late?
No, that back then that was the recommended time frame. 50 years old. You should
back then.
As a man without a family history, at that point I didn't have one of any colon cancer in the family. My mother was diagnosed with colon cancer at 90 years old.
Really?
And but they had surgically removed. Everything's fine. She's 92 and a half right now.
Well, that's great. So,
yeah,
and that's an interesting thing because I do want to talk about what my stepfather did for a living here in just a moment. But
yep.
when he passed away from Alzheimer's.
Okay.
However, he has for the longest time, or had for the longest time, what we thought, including him, because it was diagnosed as lactose intolerance. Turns out when he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, he was also diagnosed with colon cancer.
Oh my gosh.
It just happened to have that he has had for 20 years. And it happened to be a certain type, very, very rare type, like 0.01% of people get this type that they call a slow grower.
Wow.
But they completely missed it. But which is interesting because he was a physician.
And so that is, and I actually asked the doctor today, about that. I said, they did not do a screening on my mom, a colonoscopy, for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm mad at her doctor. I'm going, why wouldn't you recommend that? I mean, at least to have it checked. And he said, no, he said, that's pretty normal. He said, when you're elderly, it's not something that's very common after a certain point, and so on. But he said, as you get older, the chances per capita, I guess, get larger that you may get it. So anyway, my point in saying all that is it's not that big a deal. You got to drink. Actually, the stuff that you drink is actually getting better. I was able, it's all over the counter stuff now. And I used Gatorade to, mix it together, and it tastes okay. It's not that big a deal as long as you're close to if you're out in the middle of the woods, it's going to be a bigger deal. Sure. But if you're at home, if you're close to a restroom, it's not that.
See, I don't even think I need to buy anything. I just order a greasy pizza the night before, and I'll be fine.
I can, this same stuff can happen to me if I just have a big bowl of chili or
too much beer. Beer is a great way to do it.
Which would be hilarious if you went in to your doctor for the colonoscopy after you had a bunch of beer and chili. That would be.
Yeah, that would.
You would be a big.
I'm sure they would be laughing their head off.
Oh, you'd be a big hit. Yeah, for sure. Don't do that.
Would be a big hit, but it'd be coming from the doctor's fist.
Yes, exactly. But and one other thing on this, and we'll move along because I know this is maybe not as tasteful as we usually are.
That's going to be my face going. And yours doing that. That's going to be the screenshot right there.
Well, you got me full-on laughter on the last one you posted. I'm like,
I was so excited because I got a comment on YouTube, and I'm trying to dig through it. I'm on a call when I get the notification. I'm like, we got a comment, and I go and it's John. I'm like, shit.
Sorry.
It's all right. It's fine. I love it. I mean, it's encouraging other people to take part in the comments within our
throw down a comment
media, our video, our YouTube, all that stuff. So, please, we love comments.
One other thing I'm amazed by is how it's just unbelievable the anesthesia is. I met with the anesthesiologist, nice guy, and he's. And I've got the oxygen thing in my nose, and I've got an IV in, and he says, "All right, just take a couple deep breaths, and it's going to be fine." And I'm like, "Why? Nothing's really happening." And he says, "Well, we're going to slowly and that's all. Out. It's not like
nice.
I'm getting sleep. I mean, it was out that fast. And the next thing I knew, they're rolling me out of the room.
I've been under anesthesia twice. I've had two surgeries. One in my mouth when I was a teenager. Well, I guess I was 21, maybe.
Okay.
Excuse me. And that was my first time. I woke up from that. First of all, I'd say it's a very similar story. It was for a dental surgery, and they put the mask on me to give me the laughing gas. And
I've never had that. Is it?
It's no. It made me feel. It made me feel sick. It made me feel like I was hungover. And I was sitting there, and she turned it on, and I said, I was just joking, just completely joking. I'm 21 years old. oh, this, you're gonna have to turn it up a little bit because I'm not feeling anything. You have it on, right? And she's like, really? You're not feeling anything? I said, I have a very high tolerance. I mean, come on. If you're telling me it's gonna make me feel like I'm drunk, she said, okay. Turned it up, and I'm like, oh. And then boom, they gave me the shot, and I was out. Right. I woke up because they have a chair, and I guess they walked me out. I don't know how they did that, but I woke up in the chair, and the nurse was very, very cute. And she woke me up. She's like, how you doing? I said, no, how you doing?
Nice.
So that was, and my mom she wouldn't let me live that one down. So I told that story when I was having my hernia surgery to the nurse who was going to be in the room with me, who was administering the shots to calm me down before they give me the actual stuff that knocks me out. She said, well, I sure hope you do that for me. So, and this is how I know I'm okay with anesthesia. Because when I woke up, she looked at me and said, good morning. You remember me? And I said, yes. She said, are you sure? And I said, how you doing? And she died laughing.
That's awesome.
Actually, no, she didn't. She actually got pissed and rolled me out really fast. I hit the wall. It was crazy.
Nice.
She's like, your wife is going to hear about this.
You turned into Joey from Friends.
I did. Joey, exactly. Yeah. But so going back, so my stepdad was a radiologist, and he was later in his life. He was much older than my mom. He was about 21 years older than my mom. So he was older. He didn't retire officially until he was 72 years old. He just absolutely loved what he did, but he was in semi-retirement moving forward. My mom also worked in all the same hospitals that he did as an ultrasound tech and a mammographer and things like that. So growing up, I always wanted to be a doctor. That was kind of my thing. That's what I really wanted to do. He was kind of my role model. And so he was having someone come in to eventually replace him on his round, because he took care of 5 different hospitals. He would read the films at 5 different small town hospitals. So he had a new guy that would be at one, and he just never really went to that one anymore. And I was there with my mom because that was still part of her route. Mm-hmm. And we were friends with the new radiologist, and I had nothing better to do. He's like, you want to come in and see a procedure? I'm like, sure. Turned out it was a barium enema. One of the most fascinating things I have ever seen in my entire life.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it was really cool because you saw the screen up and I didn't see any of the nasty bits, but it was on the screen and you could see the barium going up and filling everything. It was very interesting.
Wow.
And of course he asked the patient whether or not I could be in the room. It wasn't one of those, I'll sneak you in.
Sure.
The guy was not knocked out for this, which I found very interesting, especially after talking to people who have had colonoscopies. Mm-hmm. They didn't knock him out, but yeah, so that was an interesting experience overall. And I did for still a few more years want to be a doctor after that. You'd think that would scare me off, but no, my grades scared me off.
Yeah, that would scare me. Hey, you're still not that far away from being a doctor.
I'm not, at least 10 years.
I was going to say,
I'm closer to being an attorney than a doctor.
It wouldn't take that long. I asked them, so this I remember before they put me under. I went in and met the nurses and the anesthesiologist, and I said, so I'm just curious, I got to ask, how many of these do you do in a day? And one of the nurses, Deb, remember her name, said, yep. It's, usually like 12. And I said, wow, 12, that's a small hospital. And I said, okay, wow, that's pretty good. I said, so, I mean, she said, what? It seems to me, she said, that around the end of the year, we're busier, so we've done as many as 20 in a day. And I said, at the end of the year, what are people like doing? Here's your colonoscopy gift card. Merry Christmas. And
kind of,
yeah. So somebody, look what I got.
Yeah.
So, and she laughed and she said, no, they've done 20 plus. And I said, are you just trying to set some kind of a record or what is it? She says, no, she said, but one year, true story, they did a promotion. They gave away a $10 gas card if you had a colonoscopy. True story.
That's
and
awesome.
If you don't believe me, ask my wife, because she got a gas card when she had her first colonoscopy. Yes.
That's
I
hilarious.
forgot about that.
That's great. But
You
you know
should ask
the real reason why that happens. Why so many people at the end of the year?
No.
Same reason most people don't get procedures done until the end of the year, because that if they're on insurance, they've already paid up their deductible throughout the year, so there are no more medical costs.
So it's really a good deal.
It is a good deal. Yeah, because if you've used up your deductible,
yeah,
nothing out of pocket at that point, depending on your insurance, of course.
That's true.
But my insurance, our insurance,
Yep.
it by the end of the year, that's when I had my surgery done, because I didn't have anything left on my deductible. That's not why I chose when to have my surgery. That was more of you're having the surgery now, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. Yes.
But
well, and for me, it's not about that the last several years, because I've had my deductible done by the end of January. When you have a stem cell transplant, it tends to go that quick.
Boom.
You're done. So yeah. Anyway, so that was a delightful beginning to the day, but something I do once every 5 years, doctor's orders, and it's really not that big a deal.
It's a great thing, because while I'm sitting here enjoying my cocktail for happy hour, you don't need to. You had a different sort of cocktail.
Well, I am not, hammered or anything. Although, if I had to, I could have driven home, but they don't let you.
No, it's probably a good thing.
It probably is.
It's someone after 5 drinks. I can drive home. That's fine.
I was actually pretty lucid by the time I got done. They make you wait for an hour for your oxygen levels to equalize, and
they didn't give you a pee bucket, did they?
Actually, pretty good, huh?
They didn't give you a pee bucket, did they?
No.
Remember you don't remember my pee bucket story, do you?
Oh no.
I'm sure our listeners remember my pee bucket story.
Yeah, I doubt it. Go ahead, tell it again.
No, I don't want to tell it again.
Come on.
No, it hurt me. It was very, very distressful.
Pee bucket hurt you? Oh, was that when you went in for your surgery?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember when the lady spilled the pee bucket on me?
Yes.
Now you got to try to pee. I already did.
Thanks for your help.
Yeah. That wasn't the "how you doing" nurse, by the way. That was completely
not
different.
By any stretch.
She would not have spilled the pee bucket on me. Not on purpose. Well, no. Maybe on purpose. Maybe a little on purpose.
Probably.
Who knows?
But you still would have been happy with her.
I probably. Oh, sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Tell me what is new with you. What's going on in your world?
Well, we have a new person living in our house with us. I don't remember if I told you.
You did mention it to me.
Yeah,
so tell our listeners and viewers.
So my wife's cousin, who I probably will invite to be on the podcast at some point, she is here to stay with us for a little while. Her background is with child development and things like that. So she's going to be helping out with Peyton in her online school and some other things. So it'll be very, very helpful. And she'll also probably help out at the studio a wee bit as well. So we're looking forward to that.
Awesome.
It'll definitely Jen has needed some help, and we all recognize that the problem was we chose to do a certain path for Peyton, thinking that we'd have plenty of time to do it, but then decided right afterwards to buy a business, and you know how that probably wasn't the best decision as a whole. Good decisions on both sides, just not together, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
That, and we're still working on projects. We're going to be refinancing our house here very soon. I think we discussed that on the last couple of episodes. Yep. So we're getting further and further in on that. We have our inspection happening, which will have happened yesterday, guys.
Oh, awesome!
But will happen on Tuesday. I'm sorry, Monday.
Monday.
Yeah.
Hey, we know when PoddiMouths episodes come out.
We do, sort of, kind of.
Because you're the one that releases beautifully.
Yeah. And then finally, I broke down. We have not talked about this on the podcast before, but I struggle with my lawn. We have for the last 4 years. All of my neighbors have beautifully manicured lawns, and I have tried everything to do it. And I am not by any means a green thumb. So, but I have tried. I've had people come in and aerate. We've overseeded. We've seeded in the fall. We've seeded in the spring. We've watered. We've done everything we possibly can to get our lawn to look like our neighbors, and it just looks like a pile of crap. It's a lot of weeds, a lot of clover, and it just wasn't working. So I finally broke down and hired a company, True Green is the company, a service to come in and do all of it for the next couple of years, just to try to get, and it based on a recommendation from one of my neighbors who has probably the best lawn in the entire neighborhood.
Nice.
So he said, I use True Green. They come in, they aerate once a year. Yeah, once a year, and then 9 services for the rest. And my yard looks like that. So we're gonna do it.
Awesome.
They came and aerated today. So
we'll see. That's earlier than normal. Maybe it's probably different by area of the country and so on.
I think it's different by the area of the country, but I also think it's different by when you sign up for the service. So it's probably the first thing they do before they go in and start treating your lawn. And so, and that's the other thing I do want to throw out there. With all of everything that's going, I completely forgot where I was going with that.
Oh, that's okay.
That happens. It happens a lot.
Don't you dare cut this out, because this is
awesome. Oh, I'm not.
This is good. You are drinking. Okay, so tell us in between what you're drinking, because I'm going to come back to your lawn.
Manhattan. I mean, why would I drink anything different?
Well, but let's talk about the brand. Hold on. Let me get my bell out.
It's the same brand that I've talked about.
That's not your bell. What does it say?
This is your bell.
Say what it is.
It's the Jack Daniel's Rye and sweet vermouth. So
excellent.
Yeah.
We are.
What are you drinking?
Speaking of that, water.
Yeah.
Because
you don't remember the name of the medication, do you?
I'm not on any medication.
You were this morning.
Well, I was, and I'm guessing it was some sort of anesthesia.
Yeah.
So it was amazing.
It's amazing.
It was. I'm blown away about how that works. We're actually selling to the person buying the condo our liquor cabinet, which is
not with the liquor
more,
in it, right?
Well, let me get to that. Nothing more than a corner armoire.
Okay.
And it's kind of cool because it's built actually to fit in the corner of a room, and it was originally for a TV. This is how old it is, because the deep TV that it was probably, I think the biggest we could fit in there was a 27-inch TV. And back in the day, that was huge.
That was huge.
Wow, I can't believe you got that all in that cabinet. Anyway.
I still have my 27-inch tube TV. It's sitting.
Do you really?
I don't know what to do with it. I mean, no one. You can't throw it away.
No,
you have to recycle it. But there's no one around here who will recycle it.
Oh, they in some towns or several towns they have like a one time of the year when you bring it, and people just bring in TVs because they're like Bic lighters. You throw them away when you're done with them.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've got this cabinet. We've repurposed it as kind of a liquor cabinet. So we have wine in there. We built a little wine rack and so on. And just the liquor that you acquire over time. Well, we're getting down to the kind of icky stuff now.
Oh yeah.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. We've got like
what you mean.
Malibu rum, and I don't dislike that, but you got to be in the mood for it,
right? And that's a mixer. That's not really pour me a shot of Malibu rum.
Well, let me just say, a friend of mine, David, who is a piano bar guy. And he's amazing. When I first met him 40 years ago, we went into his bar where he's playing the piano, and we used to do shots of Malibu rum.
Oof.
And I'm not just,
man.
It was, we would do probably 5 a night plus whatever we're drinking. And it was just, and I don't remember how it started. It was like he would play some stuff by the Beach Boys or whatever, and it turned into a surf night at the bar. People came in with water skis, and some guy brought a surfboard, and we drank Malibu rum shots.
Wow.
Yeah, idiots. Yeah. Anyway, so I have that in my liquor cabinet, and it's just full because we've never had occasion to drink it. It's like
it's for us, so I had in college, there were 3 of us and we rented a house together, and we would hold house meetings whenever we needed to. Like there was something to hash out, like someone was pissed at somebody.
Okay.
And we would show up and we would put a bottle of Jaeger in the middle of the table. And we said, we've got until we finish the bottle of Jaeger. And it was the same thing. So, and none of us like Jaeger.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, see, but at least it emptied at some point.
Yeah, but a lot of us still have a bottle of Jaeger that's sitting there for
but that's
no other reason.
Jaeger is I really do like Jaeger, not as a hammer a bunch of shots of it, but my brother's father-in-law, late father-in-law, grew up in Germany, and it was actually a cough syrup.
Interesting.
And that's what so at New Year's Eve, if we were at my brother's house, his in-laws would be there, and they would do, I'll try a little shot of Jaeger. It takes me back, he'd say. Because that's what they used literally for cough syrup when he was a kid. So anyway, it was kind of a funny happening, but at least it's not terrible. We celebrated Lisa's cousin's 50th birthday several years ago, and we brought him a cardboard box full of liquor. I mean, it was everything from vodka to champagne to, it was probably $150 of alcohol in this box.
That's it?
Well, and one of them, I know, it was years ago. Yeah. One of them was a bottle of Mad Dog 2020.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
And have you ever had it?
Yes.
It's
unfortunately, yes. I went to college, John. Yes, it is.
Oh, if you had your choice between Jaeger and Mad Dog, I'm going to take the Jaeger and drink it
100%.
all.
Yes.
Oh, because so what happened is it ended up in there were 6 people around the table at his party, and we had the MD, and we're taking a sip and passing it. It progressively, I think, got fuller as it went around because people are pretending to drink and then they pass it on. It was so disgusting.
So I trained. We've talked about this before. I trained as a bartender when I was in college, and was a bartender in college.
I was born a bartender, but okay.
Yeah. Well, me too. That's my training. Yes. We had this little party at our house, the three roommates, 3 of us, and after party. So we were already pretty happy. One of the young ladies that was there was, I think it was one of my roommate's girlfriends, I think, wanted to make flaming root beers, which is, and forgive me, I don't remember the actual ingredients, but it was a liqueur with 151 floated on top, and then you light the 151 and then you drop it in your beer and you drink the beer. Very similar to a Irish car bomb, except with you're adding the flaming top.
Yep.
Well, I explained to her how to make it, and remember, I've had a few. I explained to her how to make it so she could, because she wanted to do it. She left out the liqueur and only did 151 in the shot glass. We didn't notice that. Then in the red Solo cup, she didn't fill the beer high enough to extinguish the 151. So I took it again. We're not in our right minds. We took the shot, dropped it in our beer, and all 3 of them went pooh, flames everywhere. My arm was on fire. My buddy's leg was on fire. But the interesting thing is, all 3 of us took it in stride and went, well, that sucks. And then went back and then drank the beer with the 151 in it. That was not a good morning the next morning.
What do you remember what the liqueur was? Did you say it? I missed it. I'm sorry.
No, I don't remember. I think it's amaretto.
I was going to say it would be something like that, or Kahlua or something.
I don't think it's Kahlua. That's too highbrow. I think it was either Southern Comfort or.
Oh gosh!
Yeah, I hate Southern Comfort.
Me too. Or you know what's worse than Southern Comfort? Yukon Jack.
Oh yeah,
worse.
Definitely. Ugh. Yeah, so that's
so bad.
Yeah. That's why I commented on the $150 liquor bill, because when we go to the liquor store, it's at least twice that, because we don't buy cheap stuff.
Well, you don't go often enough.
We don't go often enough either. But when we go big.
Yeah, we need to
go home.
Yeah. Well, that's good. You should go directly home. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, seriously, the Jack Rye is probably the cheapest thing I buy.
And that's great. That's what you should do.
Well, is it?
Is it? It depends how quickly you go through it, I guess. If you're going once a week, it might be problematic.
Right. Yeah. No, maybe once a month.
Yeah. And that's, it's not that big a deal. But as we're going to eventually get down to Sweet and Driver Muth.
Yeah.
That's all that's going to be left in our liquor cabinet.
And to be perfectly honest, that's why I chose the Manhattan tonight, because I'm out of Sweet Vermouth, or I'm out of Dry Vermouth, so I couldn't make my martini, which was what I was kind of hankering for.
With you have the your gin, your
Hendrix.
Oh, Hendrix. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the other
Hendrix
one?
is my favorite. Aviation is my second favorite. Speaking of, I read a couple of stories today about Ryan Reynolds and Aviation Gin, and did you know that he actually started and just recently sold his own marketing company?
No.
Yeah, he had a marketing company.
Wow.
Maximum Effort, which is also his production company.
Okay.
For things like Deadpool and stuff like that. But yeah, I was fascinated by that. And so you go up to the Maximum Effort website, and it has two links: a boot, because he's Canadian, and then I don't remember projects, I think, but projects is spelled funny too. A boot, ABOOT, a boot,
yes.
and projects.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I was watching a something on YouTube with him about his new movie.
Get Guy or something guy, free guy.
Yeah. And it's interesting, and it's probably the first, one of the most recent big pictures to be released.
Yeah, it's number one in the country right now.
Well, it's the only one.
Yeah, pretty much
since COVID.
Yeah,
they haven't released any to speak of. So,
well, they've released them, but they've all been late releases. This is the one that actually was released on time.
Okay, I don't know. I just don't know why you would release anything when the theaters are closed. So
they're not closed. Depends on the part of the country you're in. Yes,
they were.
Yes, they were.
So that's why there was such a dearth.
Well, the other big thing, and forgive me for interrupting, but the other big thing about that is, and maybe I'm wrong, but Free Guy was released directly to theaters, where all the other big releases were theaters and streaming.
Sure.
And what's her name? She played Black Widow.
I
can't remember her name. I can picture her. Yeah. Anyway, she's suing Disney because they promised not to release it on streaming, but they did.
Oh, really?
At the same time they released it in the theater. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
And now dang it.
He's going down the rabbit hole. Anytime you see that light spark in his face, that's his computer screaming. He's scream. Your computer scream. It's screaming at you.
I know. It's blah, 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 blah. Come on.
Her.
It just shows it. It doesn't. I can't believe they're showing her picture and not giving her name.
Scarlett Johansson.
Thank you. Good
and I didn't have to look it up, folks.
Truly, I have to show. Sure, you didn't.
I have to. My hand is right here. My other hand is on my drink.
Sure it is. It's Scarlett Johansson. Your hand could be anywhere. I really should do a cut and paste of this page, because it has 8 Scarlett Johansson pictures, and they're in the images for who played Black Widow.
Sure.
And her name is nowhere to be found.
You're not supposed to look in images. You're supposed to look in the search.
Well, that means I have to click it. Yeah. And so the search that comes up as a prelim, nowhere is her name.
Because he's not using a Mac, folks.
Whatever. What does Mac have to do with the search engine? Nothing.
They're just better. They're they're developing their own to take on Google.
Yeah. Good luck with that, Mac. Because let's take on the largest corporation on the planet, or
no, they're not. They're
not. But they own the vast majority of Well, if you combine them with YouTube, now who's largest?
Yeah. Well, they are combined with YouTube. The first. It's not all the liquor, folks. It's not all
Yes,
the
it's the
liquor. I am
liquor.
tired. It's the end of the day.
It's still mostly the
It's the
liquor.
end of the week. It is, well, I mean, I'm not saying it's not part of it. I'm just saying it's not the majority of it.
You're a beautiful man.
I've only had one. See, that's the thing. I don't know if this is the same for you, but you give me one drink and I'll start slurring my words. You give me two, I'm fine after. Well, I'm not fine, but I don't slur my words.
Do you ever drink when you play golf? Because I know you're
Yes, I have.
an avid golfer. Okay.
I'm not avid. I wouldn't say I'm avid. I haven't played this year yet.
You play more than I do, and I have played this year.
There you go. So you have technically played more than me.
Which is, and my game does not make me proud.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, it is what it is. But so how do you do? I mean, are you a can of beer and then just kind of ride it out, or how have you done it?
It depends on several factors. One, am I riding with someone to the golf course, or am I driving?
Yes,
how
of course.
far is the golf course away from where I live? And on top of that, am I playing a tournament or am I just out there for fun? Because all of those factor into how much I actually drink.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So I will give you a story.
Run the gamut. Run the gamut.
Well, I'll give you a story from a little bit after college. So as I think our listeners know now, I spent 5 years in St. Louis. 4 of those were in college.
Say third grade.
Yeah, right. Well, can you blame me? I am from Minnesota. Whatever. We have to do something when it's cold. So I spent 5 years, my first 4.5 years in St. Louis. 4 years in college, half a year to a year after I graduated working. And then I moved to Atlanta after that. Then I moved back to St. Louis and I spent another 5 years there. When I moved back, I connected with some of they were friends in college. Like I knew of them and I knew them, but I didn't really hang out with them a lot. But a lot of my friends that I did hang out with had moved away. A lot of them moved to LA. A lot of them moved to New York. Because remember, I was a film major for the first part. These people had stayed in St. Louis and started working. So I got to be very good friends with them. So they would often have parties on the weekend and I would go spend time with them. And some of the guys were big golfers. And when we found out that we were all big golfers, we started playing a lot of golf together. Mm-hmm. And 1 or 2 or 5 instances where we would go to the golf course and one person was the designated driver. So you've got 6 or 7 people in one car with a lot of golf clubs. It was kind of funny seeing us roll into the golf club. One designated driver and the rest of us would go and buy an 18 pack of the cheapest beer you could find.
Wow.
And the goal was a beer a hole. The first couple holes are fine because they're usually par 4s, par 5s. Then you get to the par 3 and that's a quick beer. And then you do another par 4, then you get to a par 3 and you're like, oh shit. By the time you get to the 9th hole, you are smashed and you still have 9 holes to go.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was a very interesting outing or several. So I don't do that anymore.
Good.
Nor will I ever try to do that anymore. I would probably say if I go play golf, it's 1 or 2, maybe 3 beers and a cigar. That's kind of the cigar thing is I only smoke a cigar maybe twice a year. So that you'll see how many times I actually golf if I'm smoking a cigar while I golf. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's how about you?
Well, I've done those things. I used to have one of those called a cooler club with a K. You remember those?
Yeah.
And it was an actual, I don't know if I can show you the girth of it was about like this. And it was a cooler and you filled it with ice and drinks and cocktail, whatever you were going to do. And then you'd screw the head on and it looked like a wood golf club. And so you'd put a head cover over the top of it and no one was the wiser.
Right.
We'd get to one of the holes, you'd grab a red Solo cup, pull off the head cover and drop down a spout. And there was a little pump on the side and you could pump it out from this, 4 foot long cooler that was in your golf bag. And it was hilarious. And I'd have, anybody else want a cocktail? You're pumping it out. And it was pretty funny, but it's a fine line as to how much and when and how often between being wow, this is helping me relax, and I'm playing pretty well. And terrible. I can't grab my phone.
Completely effed up. Yeah. So three things. One, I'm going to tell you a story. Then I'm going to take my headphones off because I want to get some picture books, because I know we talked about in the last episode that I was going to show the Field of Dreams, but I also want to show a picture of another story I'll tell in just a second.
Okay.
So first off, my stepbrother, my youngest stepbrother, I have three stepbrothers and a stepsister. My youngest stepbrother is 18 years older than I am, and he is a big golfer. To this day, he's a massive golfer. Also a pretty good drinker. His favorite drink, even to this day, is Canadian Club and Diet. Well, he does Diet Pepsi, but I'll say Diet Coke. So he had one of those clubs. He would put it in there and he would pre-mix the Canadian Club and the Diet Coke, and that's what we would drink on the golf course. So hold on, folks, because I want to talk about first, I'm going to talk about the golf outing, but then I'll talk about Field of Dreams while I have the book. So stand by for just a second.
We won't say anything.
You won't say anything. I know John won't say. He won't say a word. He'll be quiet. I'll cut it all out, guys. Don't worry. I'll cut it all out. Be right back.
There is no way I'm not going to say anything. Are you kidding? This is what I do. I am excited for him to bring out a photo album. What are we in 1980? A photo album? Nick. Wow. Well, now he's got to look for it too. That's all right. I want to remotely learn how to play his slot machine in the background. So when he's not expecting it, I want to run a remote. It'd have to be telephone line somehow. I bet Jen could help with that. Anyway, if you have some ideas on how we could make that happen, I just want him to go like this when his machine's running. Yeah, we didn't say a word.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
No, not a word. Not a word.
So I can't find the other one. If I had more time, I would look. But so I'm on the Field of Dreams. So we'll look at that in just a second.
Okay.
But so I'll try to tell the story, and you're just going to have to picture it in your own head. So sad day, which is the 20th anniversary, is coming up very, very quickly. So on September 11th, I'm going to tell a secret right now that I don't tell anyone but my closest friends. I hate my birthday. I've always hated my birthday. I don't tell people my birthday, but let's just say my birthday was not September 11th, but it's very close to that.
Yes, it is.
Very close. So we went, one of my three roommates and I went to Minnesota from St. Louis on my birthday in 2001, or let's just say the day before 9/11. We drove through the night. So we arrived at 2 a.m. on 9/11. And we woke up the next morning to my stepdad watching the TV and watching all the news that happened. I'm not going to talk about all of that stuff, but we spent a good portion of the day with just the news on in different parts of the house, watching different things and trying to figure out what was going on. But there was a point where I was with my roommate. My best friend TJ had come over. He's our first listener who listens. He lives in Australia now, but he was actually living at my parents' house at that point. We decided, enough is enough. We just let's go play golf. So we drove up from Anoka, which is where I live, to Mille Lacs Lake and to a golf club that growing up, TJ and I spent a lot of time at, a golf club up there called Izades. We were the only people on the golf course. Now, I also will share with you, Minnesota does not have a open bottle or an open container law. TJ decided to drive, so he was the sober driver. But he also had an OJ mobile, so a white Bronco. We drove that up to Izades. It's about an hour and a half drive. While Walker, I just outed you. Walker and I were in the car, just drinking beer on the way up.
Johnny Walker?
No, Johnny Walker. Yeah, no, Dean Walker, if you really want to get technical. Okay. Anyway, so we get up there and Walker and I are already pretty happy, and no one on the golf course. But the beer girl was there, and she was doing the cart. No one else on the golf course. So what did she do for 18 holes?
Followed you.
She just followed us. And guess what was not mandatory when she was following us, because we were the only ones on the golf course?
Pants?
No, paying. We didn't have to pay for a thing.
Really?
Yeah. So it was. So I have pictures of Walker because again, TJ was sober driver. But I have pictures of Walker running around with a club in one hand. He was a guitar player, so he had gloves on both hands instead of just with a club in one hand, his khakis, half a shirt untucked, jumping out of and perfect timing too on this cart. And this was before cell phones. Jumping out of the cart with one club in one hand, chasing geese, and there's drink in one hand, a golf club in the other. Oh, it is just to die for. So that was another.
That's one you're going to have to produce, my friend.
I'll have to try, but I got to find it because it's all, photographs, not pictures on my phone.
You have a week.
I have a week. Exactly. I will find it for next week. But just really quick, for those of you who are watching, and I showed John these already, but here's an image, a couple of images of Field of Dreams back when we went. You can kind of see that. The top one is my mom hitting a baseball.
Yeah.
I'm playing catcher, and this bottom one is my stepdad.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was the Field of Dreams. And the reason I showed that picture is because the stands, what John was talking about last week, would be right behind us.
Yep.
And then this was the gift stand. You can see that. Tiny, which now they have a museum and stands.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a massive, massive, massive place. And this was, what did I say? Early 90s?
Yeah.
I just closed it. So I think it was 94, 95.
That's what you told me. Yeah. That, and that being said, they are actually, as I understand, going to start playing games, MLB games there yearly now.
Oh, really? So they're going to leave the stands.
So
that's partially that's really sad. But on the other side, they got to figure out a way to keep that alive,
Somehow. Yeah, somehow they need to.
Exactly.
Yeah. So cool. Well, awesome. We have stuff to talk about already
for next week. This is where
like us.
No, it really isn't. It really isn't. But my golf stories compared to your golf stories are a little bit lax. Yeah, I almost broke my microphone there. So I want to hear, but I still want to hear one more. I want to leave the audience wanting more from you about your golf drinking stories.
Oh my!
So come up with a doozy, buddy.
Just playing with my brother-in-law, and he was we've had the work ones, but playing with my brother-in-law, and I had the cooler club, and it was brand new, and I couldn't wait for him to see when I just nonchalantly walked over to the cart, and suddenly I had a cocktail. And where the hell did you get that? Oh, why did you want one? And so it was kind of the hit of the first, let's say 6 or 7 holes. After that,
you don't remember the rest of the game?
Oh, I do. It was just downhill for, him especially, but others as well. It was not awesome. There's that fine line of being relaxed and then not caring.
Yeah.
So we can explore that.
Let's explore that next time. The next episode. Join us next week for the next episode of PoddiMouths. For more information about PoddiMouths, head up to PoddiMouths. Oh, wait, sorry. For more information about PoddiMouths, head up to PoddiMouths.com.
Yes!
John really liked that.
It lives on.
It lives on. It will only live on here, I'm sure.
I don't know. It's going to go viral.
Head up to PoddiMouths.com. Visit our social media. Give us some feedback. Good feedback only, no bad feedback. And please, if you really like this show, share it with your friends. If you hate the show, share it with your enemies.
That was beautiful.
We'll see. That was beautiful. We'll see you next week, folks.
I'm starting to tear up a little bit. All right, come back next time. We love you. Adios.